The muscles that are involved in performing the bird dog, but also they are there to build that stability, strength and endurance to the lower back. Now, none of the muscles that I'm going to mention are, let's just say, of the lower back. They are of the back of the body, but they don't necessarily sort of start in the lower back, if you will. So we're talking about muscles, and this is something that gets missed when we talk about training the lower back, is we aren't training the muscles of the lower back, we're training the muscles around it. Why are we training the muscles around it? Because it seems a little bit counterintuitive. We're trying to build the lower back, but we're not training any muscles of the lower back. Well, the very simple reason is we have a very big tissue known as the lumbodorsal fascia or thoracolumbar fascia. And what that does is all the muscles join into that, and that acts as the stabilizing tissue of the lower back. And all the muscles around it are joining into it. So the glutes join into it, the latissimus dorsi joins into it, longissimus iliocostalis joins into it. So all these muscles that we're talking about join into the thoracolumbar fascia or the lumbodorsal fascia. And that's holding and stabilizing the lumbar spine. So we build the stability into the muscles, we build the strength and endurance into those muscles, and it's that that's stabilizing the area. So how do we access those muscles? Well, if we start with the glutes and we'll work our way up the body, so we come into this position, and as I mentioned before, we come into that position. So again, we're pushing the leg away. Now, when I get to here, I want to be able to feel this glute squeeze. That's what I want to be able to feel. Then I know I've got that muscle and it's nice and active. Obviously, then when I come in and I move to the other side, I push that foot away. I want to be able to feel that glute working. So what that's doing, that's accessing the glutes and pulling on the lumbodorsal fascia and holding and stabilizing that side of it. When we're talking about longissimus and iliocostalis, it's the lifting of the arm that's doing it. So we come into this position. When we lift the arm, we are essentially extending the lever of our back, and that's making longissimus and iliocostalis activate a lot more, and then it's then able to hold all of that lumbar spine in position, because the muscle, if you look at longissimus and iliocostalis, most of the muscle is over the ribs, most of the tendon is over the lower back. So what's happening is the muscle is anchored onto the ribs, and when it activates, it's essentially, that's its anchor, is the ribs, and then when it hits the lower back, it's just holding it in position. But the lever arm is very small, and it's accessing and stabilizing the lower back. So when we come into there, just the simple fact that we're lifting our arm will bring more activity to longissimus and iliocostalis. The final muscle in all of this is the latissimus dorsi. So we come into this position. I come up, I can create a fist, and I can externally rotate. Now, it's very important that we externally rotate at the shoulder and not at the forearm. So here, I can still do that, but I haven't moved my shoulder. So I'm not externally rotating my shoulder. I'm just rotating at the joint in the wrist or in the forearm. What I need to be able to do is, the key is this elbow, is I want that to come into that position. I can use my thumb as a guide, so you can see as I'm turning my elbow, I'm turning my whole hand. And that's what we want from this. So we come up into this position and then we rotate. And then what we should be able to feel is latissimus dorsi that comes down the side here. You should be able to feel that activate. So just to quickly go through all of those parts, as we lift the leg, it's the glutes. As we lift the arm, it's longissimus iliocostalis, and as we externally rotate, it's latissimus dorsi. The only other part to add to that is the abdominal wall, which is rectus abdominis and the obliques, and then that will create that solid unit that the lower back is supported within, and then we just build in strength and endurance into all those muscles, and then we've got stability, strength and endurance through the lower back.